Emergencies are unpredictable, but you don't have to be unprepared. Peak Alerts sends you targeted emergency alerts in real time for the places that matter to you most, so you know what's happening and what to do next. Know first, act fast. That's the power of Peak Alerts.
All right, crew, I want to have a conversation about the last couple of days because we have had a number of fires develop over southern Colorado on days that weren't huge fire weather days, and it doesn't mean that there's not fire danger, that's for sure. If you are somebody who usually isn't up and around or available, usually when I do these things, you can join anytime I am doing live coverage and be part of the situation here and help me cover the active weather. I know a lot of you can see the smoke plume out there today, and I want to encourage you to write one or both of these links down and then put them into your phone as a P2PWX contact, because if you put one of these into a browser, you can join me live from your phone, from your computer. You can go outside, you can give us a visual of what's happening where you are. And maybe not today, but maybe in a day coming up in the future, whether it's for a fire or a severe thunderstorm or a funnel cloud, flooding, hail, whatever it might be, as long as you are in a safe place, I invite you to help me help your neighbors cover when things are impactful in southern Colorado, because Peaks2Plains is our weather together. Grab a pencil, grab a pen, and I will give you an opportunity to join me here a little bit later on. In fact, I have someone who has done it right now. So let's check in with him and see what he has to say right now, and I will bring him in. Sir, good afternoon. What is your name and where are you at?
My name is John. I'm in Woodland Park.
John in Woodland Park. So you have no fires, thankfully, in your area. Can you see the smoke plume from where you are on the Highway 115-24 fire this afternoon? Oh, looks like we lost him there. Sir, if you come back in, we'll get you back in. But that's how easy it is. Maybe he just wanted to say who he was, where he was from, and then he hopped out of there. I don't know. But it's super, super easy. So thanks to him for joining me. I was looking forward to his perspective. Here's what I wanted to talk about this afternoon. A couple of things. One, this is truly historical warmth that we have ongoing right now. Earlier today, a little bit after 2:30, Colorado Springs, we tied our all-time March record high for any date. Pueblo, we are at 86 degrees at last check. Let me see what we are right now here. We're at 85. We were at 86 last hour. And so our numbers are, in some cases, starting to come down a degree or two now. But that historical perspective is really, really important, because usually if you're talking an all-time monthly record high, like today, you're usually like tying it or beating it by a degree or so. We're going to blow right past those things by 5 or 6 degrees here coming up by the time we hit Saturday. Maybe more than that in some spots. That's why it's historical. That is abnormal. Okay, now let's talk about the fires. And I'm going to go over to the weather wall here to talk about that in a little bit, because a lot of you started seeing this plume get active here this afternoon as we hit the afternoon and we started to get some breezes. Now, what's wild is this is not a day, my friends, where we have a lot in the way of breezes. I mean, it's up around 20 miles per hour. It's not crazy. There are going to be days coming up in the short term here where we get breezes that are more significant than what we've got out there today. But this is still I wanted to do this because I'm kind of shocked, frankly, about how many fires we've had going over the last couple of days. And if you think back to a week ago, when we were getting gusts between 50 and 70 miles per hour, be thankful that none of these fires were last week, because it would have been a very, very different situation than we have had out there. But obviously the 24 fire on Highway 115 has gotten more active this afternoon. In fact, this is from near Peyton, just to the south of town, and you can see there how active that fire has got this afternoon. Now there's two on Fort Carson. Thankfully, this one's contained, but this one, which is burning to the east of Highway 115, and there's a little ridge just to the east. It's this canyon that you drive kind of out of, and then you start dropping down into the Arkansas River Valley if you're heading south from Colorado Springs. There's some gnarly stuff back in there, so that's been making it difficult for firefighters. The other thing that's been making it difficult is there's some juniper bushes back in there that like to burn really easy. It's similar to a lot of that stuff that we put in our yards in southern Colorado in the 70s when a lot of neighborhoods were being built in Colorado Springs. That stuff is extremely flammable. And so here on TAMCO radar, you see this flare up during the afternoon right there. And you even see the radar getting a little bit intense just to the east of Highway 115 there. That's the smoke plume that you all started to see. Now, radar doesn't care if it's looking at raindrops, snowflakes, bugs, dust, smoke. If it bounces off something in the atmosphere, it comes back to the radar and we get to see it. It looks like the intensity has come back a little bit because see how the radar's kind of breaking up a touch? But when you can see that on radar, you know that the system is pretty active. No doubt about that. So I thought that was interesting this afternoon. Lots of you seeing that smoke plume, but that shows us where the fire is. Now, the other thing that's interesting is the smoke plume's obviously been blowing off to the southeast here, right? And so the wind off of the deck is out of the northwest. But at the surface, that thing is running about southeast at about 10 miles per hour. And so southeast at 10 miles per hour. So that's been causing a challenge for the firefighters because we've had some wind shifts through the day today. Now you can see the smoke here on visible satellite. It's not great, but I'm looping this through a few times because with the shadows and stuff, you can kind of see it blowing off across the north side of Pueblo and across Highway 50. But look at the wind here. This has been really, really interesting. As we've moved through the afternoon, there's been a little wind shift line over El Paso County. And you can see that here, kind of just off to the southeast of Colorado Springs. You see some of the arrows kind of pushing off to the northwest there, and then just right on the El Paso Pueblo line, there's wind out of the southeast. That's what's getting into the fire. And we have somebody that is joining us here on one of our calls, and let's bring her in now, and we will talk to her. Ma'am, hello, how are you? Where are you at?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes. What's your name?
Okay. Jennifer,
And Jennifer, where are you?
Security Whitefield.
Okay, and so if you look off to the south, I'm assuming that you see the smoke plume. Has it gotten any less active looking than it was a couple hours ago?
Yeah, a little bit. I was going to try to flip it so you could see, but I don't know how to do that.
Well, why don't you go ahead and just physically turn it for us, and we'll take a look. So just physically turn your phone in your hands.
Oh.
There you go. Yeah. So was it higher earlier?
Yeah, it was. It was higher, and it looked like it had split into two. There was like two pieces of it coming up, but now it looks like it's combined back into one. But all of the smoke is going south.
Right. Right. How did you feel when you started to see that get active this afternoon?
Well, it's kind of what we deal with around here, and it's been hot, and it's not too close to me. But
does it put you on edge a little bit?
No, not really, because I know we have such great firefighter teams, and everybody's doing what they should do to get it under control.
Right. How concerned are you in the months ahead about fires?
Very concerned about what the summer is going to look like.
Yeah, me too. How long have you lived in security?
21 years.
Okay, so you've watched Waldo Canyon, you've watched Black Forest Fire, you've watched other fires,
Yep.
you've watched the Hayman Fire in the
Yep.
area, and that's part of, unfortunately, our climatology here and something that we have to deal with. Can I ask you a question? You live in El Paso County. Have you signed up for peak alerts?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. When did you do that?
Yep. Shortly after you started talking about it and kind of, promoting it on the shows. I watch you pretty much every morning.
Okay. Well, thanks for doing that. Can I ask you a favor?
Yeah.
Can you, when
That's-
you're seeing your neighbors, when people are out watering grass and stuff, would you please
Yeah.
encourage them to sign up for it as well?
Absolutely. And I'm trying to get people to sign up for Peaks2Plains as well.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
That is, you are very,
Yeah.
very kind. Thank you.
Thank you for all you do.
Okay, thank you very much. Have a good afternoon. Thanks
Yep.
for joining me today. I
You too.
appreciate it. See, that's how
Yep,
easy
thank
it
you.
is, crew. That's how easy it is. You can do that as well. So I'm going to pull the links back up. She showed us the smoke plume. That's what I am envisioning here with Peaks2Plains Weather, because it's neighbors helping neighbors. It's not let's freak out together. It's not anything like that. We're not hyping stuff. We're putting our arms around each other and we're going through it. So we've got somebody else that has hopped in here this afternoon, and I'm going to bring him in now. And hello, sir. How are you?
How are you doing, my friend? We're doing well.
Doing well. I have a question for you where you are. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Okay. My name is John Tomke. Matt and I have been friends. We finally met about a month ago, and I farm by Olney Springs. I've been a contributor back with the Fox and a little bit here with stuff, so we keep track of things.
Yeah, thanks for checking in today. Have you seen the fire? Did you see a smoke plume for the one that was just outside of Fowler?
Yeah, I'm not sure on the burning out over there. I could see that one that's big over there, that 115. You can see it in the distance.
Right. What time did you start to see that?
Oh, I got back from work. Well, like I said, let's see. Let me turn my camera around. That's the one on 115.
Okay. Yep.
That's gonna be pretty in the sunset. It's probably about 2 o'clock.
Okay. So that's when you saw it for the first time. John, where you are out in the agricultural parts of southern Colorado, how concerned do you and your neighbors get about fire when we've had a winter that's been as paltry as this one?
Dang it, I might have to call you back. I got
Okay, hey, that's all right, man. That's real time. That's how it goes, John. Take care of yourself, man. We can't have people going down here. Oh, my goodness sakes. Jim Martin, how are you?
Doing well. Good to see the notifications are working for fire season.
Well, I tell you what, man, that's kind of what it's all about here. It's, we've got to be ready for these days. It was kind of interesting for me yesterday, Jim. I was scheduled to do a baseball game, do PA, out at the Classical Academy, and I was doing that, and the fire popped up in the Wet Mountain Valley. And, thunderstorms and things that are weather related, I can plan around. But I kind of learned yesterday that for fires, I sort of can't. And it was a little bit of an eye-opener to me that, man, given we're going to have probably fire danger for the foreseeable future, I maybe need to rethink some of the things I have on the calendar,
Fair enough. Well, we'd love for you to have a life. And I do know you do your mobile posts. I don't know
Right.
if those are pre-recorded or live, but perhaps you can announce a baseball game and in the seventh inning stretch,
Right.
give us a little update or
Right.
something. So,
Well, and that's what was interesting about it is I can do it live, but when I was sitting there going, now batting for Manitou Springs, I kind of can't do both at once. So like I said, that was a little wake-up call to me. Jim, you live in a part of town that, I've had some discussions with some of the folks that are pretty high up in the fire department over the years, and there is a lot of old growth on that side of town. When you see smoke plumes going up around you, do you get concerned about the months ahead?
I do. and particularly as close as it is on 115. That makes me nervous. I manage an HOA, and we've done a lot of juniper mitigation, fire mitigation, in cooperation with the fire department. But that's expensive, but it's a lot better than the catastrophic fire that could happen if some of that dry timber catches.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's interesting, like it is a big investment, like you said. And if you do that and nothing happens for a year or two, maybe you're like, oh, we didn't need to do that. But when a fire is coming, it helps firefighters protect your home, your structure, as they call it. And so, you've got to think about that. I think this year that we've had a little bit of a wake-up call over the last couple of days of how easy things are going to burn. Jim, thanks for checking in with me today. I appreciate it, and thanks for your insight, as always, my friend.
Before we go,
yes,
there's a fire around North Platte in Nebraska.
Yes.
Do you know of anybody who does this in that area in your network? Because I've got family and farms and stuff around there, so I just was kind of checking in on our fires first and foremost, but I just thought I'd ask if you have somebody who's up in that area.
Yes, let me see. I think it's Nebraska weather.tv.
Okay.
Let me double check here real quick. Yes, Nebraska weather.tv. And he does the exact same thing. His name's Tim Jones. He is doing this up in that area. He's covering everything like I am. And so for the folks that that are there, he's a good resource or for you to check out as well, because this is kind of a growing movement of longtime TV folks. So yeah, check him out.
All right. Thank you very much.
Cool. All right, Jimbo. Thank you very much. I see that John has hopped back on. I'm going to do a little bit more weather, and then we'll get to John here in a second, because I want to talk about what is going to happen tonight with that wind that we've had in the vicinity of the 24 fire. So we've had that little southeast wind here through the course of the afternoon, and I think as we move into the evening, we're going to see the flow off of the hills probably take over that southeast wind, which is something that's pretty typical up against the higher terrain of any mountain range at night. As the atmosphere starts to settle down, you don't get the mixing of the lower levels of the atmosphere, the troposphere that you get during the day. The mountains up at elevation cool off faster than the low spots, and that cooler air, because it's more dense and because gravity's pulling it down, starts coming down the hillsides. And that's what we should have overnight tonight. And then as we look at the flow tomorrow across the area, since it's pretty obvious that that thing will still be burning, the good news is that the wind will be a little bit lighter on Friday than it is out there today. And let's hope that they can make progress on that thing. I know they're working very, very hard on it, but let's hope that they can make that progress on it tomorrow, because Saturday is going to be a day where the fire danger comes back up, and I'll talk about that here in a second. Let's bring my buddy John Tomke back in. John, are you okay?
Yeah, you know how it goes. You've done more live than I have. That's when something will go down wrong or something and you can't talk.
Well, yeah, I think you were trying to breathe and talk at the same time, and that doesn't go well. John does know about broadcasting a little bit. He has done high school games for Crowley County and in the Arkansas Valley for a long time. So I was asking you before you had your little issue. In the agricultural area where you are, when you see, smoke plumes going up and the number of fires we've had over the last couple of days, do you get concerned about the next couple of months?
Well, it is one of these things on the fuel loads. I mean, I do a lot of burning. I have to, we're burning around, and it is just so much common sense that you have to use with it. Areas and stuff. I mean, yeah, as you came down a month ago and you saw how Ordway, where the water has gone and there are no fields, there's, like I said, fuel loads with weeds and grass and stuff like that. I mean, it doesn't take much, because it was in 2008, April 15th. I don't know if you remember that, but there were 50,000 acres burned in Crowley County, and it took, a couple of firemen killed and several houses burned down, and it just happened to go in there, and it was one that they had burned some tree stuff, and they had it buried. They had it out 2 or 3 days, and that wind came up, and it started by Ordway, and it went crazy. And I have to be very careful when I'm burning ditches in that, because you think tumbleweed is bad. Wait till you get it with 1,000 gallon a minute water going through there, and you have to pull it out of culvert, and you can't do those kind of things. So we need to do it. It's just where it is. But yes, it can go across that grass like that. You were talking about that in Nebraska.
Right.
That stuff this time of year, and we haven't had any moisture. Everything is going to, in another, if we get some moisture in another 30, 60, 90 days, the native grasses will start bringing and greening up, and they won't be as volatile. And right now, and then that's where the problem, then you get into another heat wave, and they go backwards.
Right.
And they can, and then, the mountains and grows up, and you got your pine trees and all that, that's still load. And then these fires out on the plains can just go so fast. It's blowing 40 mile an hour. They'll go 50 mile an hour. You can't outrun it.
Right. And
In
it's,
the mountains, they go slower, but they get going too.
Right. You brought up the fuels in the mountains, and it's completely different than the grasses on the plains. We call those 1 hour fuels because they can dry out in an hour. Trees are 100 or 1,000 hour fuels. It takes them a lot longer to feel the effects of warmth and drought than the grasses and bushes and that kind of stuff. Anything else that you feel like, given this discussion about fires and what we've seen over the last couple of days, that some of us that live in the cities may not think about, those of you that live in agricultural areas deal with when it comes to years of lack of water and the potential for fire?
Just use your brains, folks. I mean, have your safety chains on trailers and stuff that they don't get to dragging, because it's funny if I'm trying to do an agricultural burn, sometimes you can hardly start something, but a chain spark or something just go poof.
Right.
On
and
everything
it's,
like that. Your burn pits, you don't need to burn pits. You don't, not sure what you're doing. Have water, talk to your fire districts. They'll help you. You have these nice, beautiful trees back. You know what? Get somebody to come in and trim it up. They'll tell you how to do it to save your house and everybody else's property.
Right. That's good wisdom. It'll be interesting to find out what the 24 fire was caused by, because it was kind of started on the highway, so it was probably a spark or a cigarette butt or something like that. We don't know, of course, but
But like I said, I have to do a lot of burning. I've got a lot of ditches to get ready. A couple years ago, I had one that got out of hand. It was totally out, and a fence post apparently had a ember in it that she didn't see. We checked it several times, and the wind switched out of the east, and it came and it burned part of the post and fell in and got away from us. There was and almost burned a structure down. I mean, it just that stuff fire just does weird things. Even if you're around it, firefighters will tell you that, and people that burn can tell you that too.
Right.
But don't do anything stupid. Don't think, oh, it's cool. Let's build us a little fire out here and in the middle of something, or let's have a model rocket, or let's fireworks or things like that. Just do without it. I like campfires, but we don't always need campfires.
Right. No, I'm with you. And I love how you say it, like, don't do anything stupid, like use your brain. That's wisdom from the plains. And John, I appreciate you taking some time today to check in, and thanks for sharing your experience with us and, all of the depth of knowledge you have out there. I appreciate it, my friend. Thanks for coming on.
All right. Yeah. Good seeing you again, and we'll be in touch.
Okay. Sounds good, my man. Have a good evening. Tell your wife I said hello. Here's why, we've got to kind of hope for our firefighters tonight, tomorrow morning, and during the day on Friday. By the time we get to Saturday, the weather situation starts to change up a little bit. And we get into this situation where the wind starts picking back up. And that's because a cold front is going to be approaching. So as we head into Saturday, we've got fire weather watches that are already up for the populated areas on the interstate, for the Wet Mountain Valley, for the mountains, for the San Luis Valley, the Upper Arkansas River Valley. And we don't have them up yet out across the plains because the wind over the plains may not be as strong as what we have across the Front Range, but we'll watch that. It'll be hot as heck, and the humidity will be very, very low. But that's because we're ahead of a cold front. So let's talk about the extended forecast here, and let me show you a day that we are going to get some relief. Because on Saturday, we're talking mid 80s in the Springs, we're talking mid 90s in Pueblo, and shattering the all-time record highs. But by the time we get to Sunday, look at that, we're in the 60s to around 70. And that is going to come with a wind shift. So if the 24 fire is not contained by then, that'll be an issue that the firefighters have to deal with as well, because late Saturday night and early Sunday morning, we're going to see the wind pick up out of the north as this cooler air comes in. And so, by late Sunday afternoon, enough instability in the atmosphere that maybe somebody gets a shower. I'm not real excited about that, and you can see why, because that is not all that big of a deal. But after a cool day or two, we warm right back up. You see next Wednesday, that's another day, maybe into the record books. That's another day of some fire weather danger ahead of another cold front that pulls us back into the late part of next week. And that's about as exciting as the forecast gets, my friends. I don't have any significant water in the forecast. In fact, I'll just run one of the computer models here out into the future, going about a week and a half out here, and you'll see that, we get a little bit of green to show up with that little thing that comes in Sunday, but that's about it. I mean, there's no big water makers on the way to Colorado. So something to be aware of, that we are going to continue to deal with this on the warm and the certainly windy days. Tom asks a question here. Where is it burning? Is it in a riverbed? It's just to the south. Southeast of Fowler. It started as an agricultural burn and then ended up with the east breeze that we had on the plains burning down into the Apashapa, but that is contained now. Talked to the emergency manager out in Otero County, and that thing is good. Kevin asked about that as well. I did, like I said, about an hour and 15 minutes ago, I was texting with the EM and got it. Let's see. I'd hate to see you give up those things, Matt. Oh, Tom's talking about PA. Well, I know. It just made me think, right? Like the purpose of this is to be here for the community, and maybe not be able to be able to do that. So, okay. All right. Well, my friends, some of you saying hi. Okay. Danita probably saying the smoke looks thicker where I live. Cheryl says that I was picking up a student at Air Force Academy High School at 3 o'clock. We saw the huge plume of smoke as we got onto I-25. So, you're all kind of being aware of it. You're all watching, and that's what this is all about. This is all of us helping each other. So I just kind of want to take the opportunity here when, things are not completely awful, to get us all ready for the days when there may be critical things of fires heading into neighborhoods and things like that. So that's what the purpose of this was for, a reminder for you here that if, I think it would be great if when we're doing live coverage, if you joined us when it was appropriate. Write these down, put them into your phone for P2PWX as a contact, and then you have it when you need it, and you can join me easy. And also when I'm doing live coverage, if you would share this, if you're watching on social media, if you're watching on Facebook or Instagram, share the post when we're in the countdown so that other people can get in and so they can be informed as well. I would be grateful for that. And if you are somebody that hasn't downloaded the Peaks2Plains Weather app yet, you totally should. I can give you kind of detailed information in a way that I can't do here. I spend a lot of time behind the scenes editing computer model information. Like if I use Sunday as an example, computer models weren't great. A lot of forecasts around here other than mine weren't great, and did 4.5 hours of coverage on Sunday morning for the whiteout and for the ice rink that we had on some of the roads. So again, that's what Peaks2Plains Weather is all about. It's a movement, it's new media, it's a better way for me to take care of you. Thanks for joining me this afternoon, my friends. Keep all of the firefighting men and women, in fact, all of our first responders, in your thoughts and prayers. I find myself thinking about them on a day like this that, you know, when a lot of us are not in the area, they are heading right into it to help keep our community safe. So just some amazing men and women that serve us all here in Southern Colorado. That's it for me. Have a good evening. I'll see you tomorrow morning live here on the 24-hour channel on Mornings with Meister. I do that every Monday through Friday morning at 6:30, and I would love for you to start your day the right way with me. I'll see you then. Have a good night.